Donald Trump suffered a total meltdown as the Epstein leaks are becoming extraordinarily damaging. He had an overnight freakout, including nearly 1 a.m. posts to Truth Social again. This is what desperation looks like. This is not quiet confidence. This is not quiet confidence that you are going to be vindicated by the release of the Epstein files. This is not quiet confidence that the Supreme Court is going to help you pull off the disasters you're trying to pull off. I'll explain because there's a lot of substance here. Posted close to 1 a.m. early this morning, Donald Trump said on Truth Social, quote, "The failing New York Times and their lies and purposeful misrepresentations is a serious threat to the national security of our nation. Their radical left, unhinged behavior, writing fake articles and opinions in a never-ending way, must be dealt with and stopped. They are a true enemy of the people. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump." Authoritarian language. Enemy of the people, we have been desensitized to. I know it's hard to feel viscerally the authoritarian rage that is implicit in that statement. But enemy of the people is a phrase with a very specific history. It is how strongmen and dictators justify oppression. It is how you signal, we don't see journalists as mere critics, we see them as enemies to be taken out. And notice what's missing. Trump is attacking the New York Times, but he has no specific article that he cites. That's a problem. He has no factual dispute that he brings up. Well, the New York Times says X, and X isn't true. Y is actually true. There's no correction. And then up again in the morning with it again, where Trump says, quote, "The tariffs are responsible for the great USA economic numbers just announced, and they will only get better. Also, no inflation and great national security. Pray for the U.S. Supreme Court." Pure gaslighting. Tariffs do not reduce inflation. They cause it. They raise prices. That is not an ideological claim from me. It is basic economics. Tariffs are taxes on imports. The cost of those tariffs gets passed along to consumers. Prices go up. Claiming that tariffs caused great economic numbers. And by the way, we just got a GDP number for Q3, up 4.3%. That is a good number. We're going to delve into the internals of it tomorrow. But saying that tariffs did that? No. Second, no inflation is a lie. Even Trump's administration, when you actually pin them down in interviews, Kevin Hassett, Scott Bessent, and others, they don't claim inflation is zero. They claim it's gone down. Even that's not true. It's basically been the same for 2.5 years. But that line, no inflation, is not a line meant to influence people who are informed. Because anyone who's informed knows inflation's been bouncing between 2.5 and 3, meaning prices have been going up. The idea is create an alternate reality for loyalists of this president. And third, the mention of the Supreme Court. And this is really a tell. Pray for the Supreme Court is not a patriotic concern from the president. It's pressure. That is a signal to his audience that the court is expected to protect Trump on the tariffs. They're not going to rule these tariffs are actually unconstitutional. And if the Supreme Court were to come back and say, you know what, the tariffs are unconstitutional, then something has gone wrong. And then you need to believe that Trump is the one who's right, not the 9 justices of the Supreme Court. Now, here's a bonus from a couple days earlier, where Trump is also now this kind of like down is up. The Ministry of Peace is actually the Ministry of War, 1984 type stuff. Trump says inflation being up is good. Trump posting, quote, "The only reason our unemployment ticked up to 4.5% is because we are reducing the government workforce by numbers that have never been seen before. 100% of our new jobs are in the private sector. I could reduce unemployment to 2% overnight by just hiring people into the federal government, even though those jobs are not necessary. I wish the fake news would report the 4.5% correctly. What I am doing is the only way to make America great again." So now unemployment is good. Higher unemployment is a sign of strength. And Trump is claiming unemployment is only up because I slashed government jobs. Every new job is in the private sector. And I could just hire everybody back into the federal government and get unemployment down to 2%. Classic Trump logic. If the numbers are good, he takes full credit. If the numbers are bad, he says they're secretly good if you only understand them. If they're still bad, It's because Trump is restraining himself from being even more amazing, which he could do any day that he wants. But notice the quiet admission that is implicit in what he's saying about unemployment. Trump is acknowledging government jobs do lower unemployment. He has spent years pretending that public sector employment doesn't really count for anything. We've been saying, how doesn't it count? It's a person who is employed, they are earning a salary, which they spend in their community, meaning it supports businesses that are depending on that person's income. But now, all of a sudden, instead of not counting, it does count. So big picture, what is Trump thinking about? What are the last 12 to 16 hours of what's going on in Trump's head as the Epstein situation devolves and explodes? Number one, he's furious with the press, even though he won't tell us exactly what the New York Times got wrong. Number two, denial about the state of the economy. And number three, this outrageous retroactive spin on bad data in this economy. Are people falling for it? Sadly, the answer is a lot of them are, but many are not. And this is why Trump's approval on the economy has now dipped below that of Democrats in some polls, something you don't typically see. Appreciate you watching. Stick around for this next video and don't forget to hit subscribe so you actually see our uploads. You can also catch the full podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.